Question 81. What would you do on a day when you feel tired or not fit for work?
First, I try to prevent it in the first place, getting proper sleep, staying off my phone late at night, eating well and keeping a steady routine because being fit for work starts the day before. Second, if I'm ever genuinely not fit for work, I wouldn't hide it and push through. I'd tell the supervisor honestly, and if it's serious, I'd request a day off rather than risk it, because coming in unfit doesn't just endanger me, it puts my teammates at risk too. Finally, I'd extra carefully stick to procedures and check in with my mates that day. I see managing my own condition as part of my job, not something separate from it.
Question 82. What would you do if you and a coworker disagreed and it held up the work?
First, I would keep it about the work, not the person. I'd listen to their reasoning first, because they might see something I've missed, and often a disagreement is just two people with the same goal and different information. Second, if it involves safety, the safe option always wins. No debate otherwise. I'd look for the approach that follows the correct procedure rather than the one that just proves who's right. Finally, if we still can't agree and it's holding up the job, I wouldn't let it drag on. I'd bring in the supervisor to decide, so the work keeps moving safely instead of stalling.
Question 83. What would you do if you saw an unsafe situation on site?
First, if the situation is dangerous, I would use my right to stop work straight away and report it to the supervisor. No task is worth someone getting hurt, and stopping the job is everyone's right and responsibility. Second, I would make the area safe if I can do so without putting myself at risk, and stay there to warn others until it's handled properly. Finally, I would never just walk past it or assume someone else will deal with it, because on a work site, staying silent about a hazard is the same as creating one.
Question 84. What would you do if you saw a coworker breaking a safety rule?
First, I would speak to them directly but respectfully. Often people don't even realize they've slipped, so a quick, friendly heads-up is enough to fix it on the spot. Second, I wouldn't do it to blame them but to look out for them, because a safety rule broken once can cost someone their health or their life. Finally, if it's serious or keeps happening, I would report it to the supervisor, not to punish him, but because keeping the whole team safe matters more than avoiding an awkward moment.
Question 85. What would you do if the official rule and the way things are actually done on site were different?
First, a manual exists to be followed. It's a rule made for a reason, usually safety. So I would follow the official procedure, not a habit that ignores it, because a shortcut that has hardened into habit is still a shortcut, and it fails the same way. Second, rather than openly criticizing anyone, I would ask about it first. Sometimes there's a good reason I don't know yet, and sometimes it's simply a habit that has drifted away from the rule. Finally, since the manual and the practice shouldn't stay in conflict, I'd act to line them up. If the practice is unsafe, I'd report it so it gets corrected. And if the practice is actually better, I'd tell the coworker not to just keep ignoring the manual, but to ask the supervisor to update it officially. Either way, we follow one agreed, written standard, not each person's own habit.
Question 86. What would you do if your supervisor gave you an instruction that seemed unsafe?
First, I would respect the instruction, but I would never carry out something I believe is unsafe without speaking up first. Safety always comes before just following orders. Second, I would raise my concern calmly and respectfully, explaining what worries me, because often it's simply a misunderstanding that a short conversation can clear up. Finally, if it still seems genuinely unsafe, I won't do it. I'll ask to check the safe procedure together, and if it still isn't resolved, I'll escalate it to the next level up or the safety officer, because safety has to come before hierarchy.
Question 87. What would you do if there was an emergency or an injured person on site?
First, I would stay calm and check the scene is safe before approaching. If there's an ongoing danger, I'd move back and call 000 or the site emergency team straight away, because rushing in can create a second victim. Second, once it's safe, I would use the first aid I've been trained in and alert the first aid officer and supervisor. Finally, I always make a point of knowing where the ED is kept, so I can get it and use it quickly if needed. In an emergency, Being prepared and calm saves more lives than panic.
Question 88. What would you do if you made a mistake that caused a problem, but no one noticed?
First, I would report it straight away, even if no one saw it. Whether anyone noticed makes no difference to me, because the risk to safety is exactly the same. Second, on a worksite, a hidden mistake doesn't disappear. It can quietly turn into a serious accident later, so owning it early is always the responsible choice. Finally, I'd rather be trusted for my honesty than get away with hiding something. Trust is everything on a team, and it's built by doing the right thing, especially when no one is watching.
Question 89. When something goes wrong, what's the most important principle you follow?
First, safety comes before everything else, before speed, before pride, before finishing the task. So before anything else, I make the situation safe, and I never let pressure push me into a shortcut. Second, I stay calm and honest. I don't hide problems or handle things beyond my training alone. I report early and communicate clearly, because problems only get more expensive the longer they stay quiet. Finally, I try to learn from it. Once things are under control, I look at the cause and share it with the team, because the real goal isn't just fixing today's problem. It's making sure it doesn't happen again.
Question 90. What do you know about our company or this site?
First, before applying, I looked into your company, what you mine or produce, roughly where your sites are, and the kind of roster and operation you run, because I wanted to be sure it was the right fit, not just any job. Second, what stood out to me is your reputation for safety and how you look after your people. And that matters to me because safety and a good team culture are exactly what I'm looking for. Finally, I know I still have plenty to learn about the specifics, and I'm genuinely keen to understand more. So I'd rather show that I've done my homework than pretend I know everything.
Question 91. Why do you want to work in Australia rather than in another country?
First, Australia has one of the most established and respected Fifo mining industries in the world, with strong safety culture, clear rosters, and fair conditions. So it's the place I want to build a real career, not just earn money. Second, Australia is known for its safety standards and how it protects workers' rights, and coming from a background where I value safety and doing things by the rules, that culture is exactly the kind of environment I want to work in. Finally, Australia also welcomes skilled workers from overseas and offers a genuine long-term future. So for me, it's not a short-term move. It's where I want to commit and grow.
Question 92. What do you expect this job to be like?
First, I expect it to be physically demanding and mentally tough at times. Long shifts, harsh conditions, and weeks away from home. And I've thought about that honestly rather than only picturing the good side. Second, I also expect a strong safety culture, clear routines, and good teamwork. And I see the roster lifestyle as a fair trade, real focus at work, and real rest and time with family on my days off. Finally, I'm not coming in with a fantasy. I'm coming in prepared, because I believe the people who last in Fifo are the ones who knew what they were signing up for and still chose it.
Question 93. When can you start, and are you available for the roster?
First, I'm ready to start as soon as I've completed the required inductions and tickets. I've kept my schedule clear so I can commit fully without loose ends holding me back. Second, yes, I'm fully available for the roster. I understand what a swing like 2 to 1 or 8 to 6 involves, and I've arranged my personal life so I can be away for the full rotation without problems. Finally, I'm looking for something long-term, not just a short stint, so you can count on me being reliable and available for the roster over the long run.
Question 94. What are your salary or condition expectations?
First, I'm comfortable with the standard rate for this role, and I trust your company to offer what's fair for the position and the roster. Second, at this stage, my priority is getting my foot in the door and proving myself. I'm more focused on doing the job well and building a career here than on negotiating hard on day one. Finally, I do expect the conditions to be safe and fair, which I already understand your company provides. So as long as that's in place, I'm confident we can agree on the rest.
Question 95. Do you think your age might be a concern for this kind of work?
First, I keep myself genuinely fit. I manage my sleep, exercise, and health carefully, and I've prepared my body for physical work so I can hold my own on site. Second, what I bring on top of that is the seasoned judgment that comes with years of experience. I lead by example for my teammates, and I look before I leap. I double-check before acting, which is exactly the habit that keeps a worksite safe. Finally, I'm not here to prove I'm young. I'm here to be dependable, safe, and committed for the long run. And I believe that steadiness is worth more on a site than age on paper.
Question 96. Are you comfortable using computers or digital devices for work?
First, yes, I'm comfortable with computers and digital tools, and I use them regularly, so things like tablets, apps, or digital checklists on site wouldn't be a problem for me. Second, I understand modern mining uses a lot of technology, from digital reporting to automated equipment, and I see that as a good thing because it makes work safer and more accurate. Finally, I've picked up computer and digital skills over the years, and I genuinely enjoy learning new technology because it's useful anywhere, anytime. I tend to take to new tools quickly. So if there's a system I haven't used, I'm not afraid of it. I'll just learn it properly, the same way I'd learn any other part of the job.
Question 97. Why should we hire you?
First, you can rely on me for the things that matter most on a site. I put safety first, I'm honest and transparent, I communicate clearly, and I show up ready and reliable every single day. Second, I'm not here for a short-term job. I'm here to commit, learn properly, and grow with your team over the long run, which means you're investing in someone who intends to stay. Finally, I know I may not have every ticket yet, but I'm a fast and careful learner with the right attitude, and honesty and attitude are the things that can't be taught. Give me the chance, and I'll prove it on site.
Question 98. Do you have any questions for us?
First, yes, I always come prepared with questions, because I see this as a two-way conversation, not just me being assessed. Second, I'd like to ask things that show I'm thinking about doing the job well and staying long-term. For example, what does a typical roster and swing look like? What does the induction and training process involve? And what does success look like in the first 3 months? Finally, I might also ask about the team and site culture, because a safe, well-run team is exactly the kind of place I want to commit to for the long run.
Question 99. Is there anything else you'd like us to know?
First, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I've prepared seriously for this, and I'm genuinely committed to making a career here, not just taking a job. Second, if there's one thing I'd like you to remember about me, it's that I'm safe, honest, and reliable. I'll always put safety first, own my mistakes, and give you an honest day's work every single day. Finally, I know I still have things to learn, but I'm ready to learn them properly and stay for the long run. And if you give me the chance, I'm confident you'll feel you made an excellent choice.
Question 100. How committed are you to this role?
First, I'm fully committed. This isn't a backup plan or a quick way to make money for me. It's a path I've chosen carefully and prepared for, and I intend to build a real future in it. Second, that commitment shows in how I work. I take safety seriously, I keep learning, I stay reliable, and I give my honest best every shift because I want to earn my place on the team, not just fill it. Finally, I understand the lifestyle and I've made my choice with open eyes, so you can count on me to be here, do the job well, and grow with the company for the long run.